Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! 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 Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we have a double feature of lighthearted tellings of the Charles Dickens A Christmas Carol story, and we're going to kick things off with Mickey's Christmas Carol, featuring the voices of Alan Young, Wayne Allwine, Hal Smith, Eddie Carroll, Will Ryan, and Clarence Nash. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today we have a double feature of more lighthearted versions of the A Christmas Carol story. And we're going to kick things off today with Walt Disney's Mickey's Christmas Carol. And our movie opens on Christmas Eve in 19th century London as surly moneylender Ebenezer Scrooge McDuck objects to the merriment of Christmas. He refuses to give money to a panhandler outside of his office, declines his nephew Fred's invitation to Christmas dinner, and dismisses two gentlemen who are fundraising for the poor. When his underpaid employee, Bob Cratchit, requests to have half of Christmas Day off, Scrooge reluctantly agrees under the condition that Cratchit is docked half a day's pay. Scrooge continues his business and arrives at home just before midnight. As he enters his house, Scrooge encounters the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley, who warns him that robbing the widows and swindling the poor was wrong, and as a result, Marley is condemned in the afterlife to carry long and heavy chains. And the same thing will happen to Scrooge if he doesn't change his own ways. Scrooge becomes frightened and asks for help, so Marley informs him that he will be visited by three spirits that night, and that he should listen to them and do what they say, or else his chains will become heavier than Marley's. At 1 o'clock, Scrooge is visited by the ghost of Christmas past, who takes him back in time to his early adult life. They visit his time as an employee under Fezziwig, while Fezziwig throws a Christmas party where the young Scrooge meets a young woman named Isabel, whom he falls in love with. However, the ghost shows Scrooge how over time he came to love his money more than Isabel, and as a result, Isabel left him when he chose money over her. A distraught Scrooge then asks for the ghost to return him to the present, and the ghost grants his request, but reminds him that he created this past himself. Scrooge is left in his bed, lamenting his past actions, and at 2 o'clock, Scrooge meets the gigantic, merry ghost of Christmas Present. The ghost takes Scrooge to an old, decrepit home, which is revealed to be Bob Cratchit's home. Scrooge is shocked to see that the Christmas dinner for their family of 5 consists of barely enough food for one person. But he sees that Cratchit's family is surprisingly content with their small dinner. Scrooge then takes pity on Bob's ill son, Tiny Tim, and the ghost comments that if things don't change for the family, Tiny Tim will not live to see many future Christmases, and then disappears, leaving a bewildered Scrooge begging for clarification. Scrooge is then transported to a cemetery where he meets the ghost of Christmas Future, who initially appears as a silent, cloaked, cigar-smoking figure. When Scrooge inquires about Tiny Tim, the ghost points to a gravesite in the distance, where Bob and his family are mourning Tiny Tim's death. As a devastated Scrooge asks if this event can be changed, he spots 2 grave diggers who are amused that no one attended the funeral of the man that they are burying. As soon as the grave diggers are gone, Scrooge creeps closer and asks who the grave belongs to. The ghost reveals that the man who died is none other than Scrooge himself and shoves him into the grave, where his empty coffin opens to reveal the gateway to hell. Now terrified out of his wits, Scrooge decides to change his ways once and for all and begs for the ghost to let him out. Scrooge suddenly awakens in his own bedroom on Christmas morning. He is happy that the spirits gave him a second chance, and he makes plans to do good to all of the people that he had been selfish with. He decides to surprise Bob's family with a turkey dinner and Christmas toys, and he ventures out to spread happiness and joy around London. He accepts Fred's invitation to Christmas dinner and then donates a sizable amount of money to the gentleman he had spurned earlier. Scrooge then goes to the Cratchit house, at first putting on a stern demeanor. But then Scrooge reveals that he brought food and gifts for them and intends on raising Bob's salary and making him his partner in his counting house. Scrooge and the Cratchits then happily celebrate Christmas as our movie comes to its end. Mickey's Christmas Carol was my first introduction to Charles Dickens and the A Christmas Carol story. Figure this came out in 1983, so I was 6 years old at the time, and it became a staple on television after that. So watching it from when I was 6 years old and I'm now 46, just throwing that out there. Like, this has been a part of my life for 40 years, give or take. And it's the reason why it was so hard for me to watch any of these other versions of A Christmas Carol for so many years. Even the Muppets, which we're going to talk about at the top of the half hour, I didn't watch until maybe a decade ago, start to finish, as much as I grew up loving the Muppets. Because Mickey and company got it done in 25 minutes. And you want me to sit here through Sir Seymour Hicks, Reginald Owen, Alistair Sim, George C. Scott, Patrick Stewart, Bill Murray, whoever, an hour 15, an hour and a half, an hour 45? Mickey and crew did it in less than 30 minutes. And they got the story across. There were a couple of differences. Bob Cratchit, Mickey, asks for half a day off instead of the full day off. Scrooge gives it to him, but unlike the other versions of the story where he still gets paid, Scrooge docks him half a day's pay in this one. None of the other versions do we make Cratchit the partner. So there's definitely a little bit of variation here. The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, the Ghost of Christmas Future in this one, actually speaks a couple lines of dialogue when we get the reveal that it's Pete, the old arch nemesis of Mickey Mouse, going all the way back to Steamboat Willie. You know, then you get some of the other little cameos in here. You've got Jiminy Cricket as the Ghost of Christmas Past, Willie is the Ghost of Christmas Present, Donald is Fred. You know, there's Goofy is Jacob Marley, which you want to talk about miscasting. You expect me to believe that Goofy was anywhere near as evil and sinister as Scrooge? Come on. Come on. I don't buy that in the least. Then you see Fezziwig as Mr. Toad. There's cameos by Daisy Duck as Isabel. Other random characters just scattered throughout the movie there. It's hard to watch this and then watch any other version. Now, granted, over time, the Reginald Owen one is near and dear to my heart, as is the Muppets one, obviously, which again, top of the half hour, we're going to do Muppets Christmas Carol. But this one always is going to hold a special place in my heart because it was the first version I learned and watched, and they got their stuff done in under 30 minutes. When it comes to my rating for Mickey's Christmas Carol, because of all that, and I am gonna dock a half a star because of the changes to the story. Mickey's Christmas Carol gets 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. If it wasn't for the changes to the story that are so evident, it would be 5 stars. But 4.5 out of 5 stars for me when it comes to Mickey's Christmas Carol. What do you guys think? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that debate, that discussion, that interaction that I'm always asking for you guys in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in at the top of the half hour, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I've mentioned a couple times previously, we're going to take a look at The Muppets Christmas Carol, starring Michael Caine, Dave Goelz, Steve Whitmire, Frank Oz, Jerry Nelson, Stephen McIntosh, and Robin Weaver. And then tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, it'll be another edition of Renegades Reviews and another telling of A Christmas Carol, this time starring Patrick Stewart, Richard E. Grant, Joel Grey, Ian McNeice, Desmond Barrett, Bernard Lloyd, Dominic West, and Laura Frazier. And then at the top of the half hour after that, it'll be time for New Release Saturday, and we'll be taking a look at the Apple Film original Spirited, starring Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds, Octavia Spencer, Sunita Mani, Patrick Page, Marlo Barkley, Lauren G. Woods, and Tracy Morgan. And that's not all tomorrow, folks, because later on that evening, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, it'll be time for another edition of Open Mic Night. Myself, Noah Foster, James Hebert, possibly Jeff Meacham, and you never know who else may step into the club and up to the microphone for Open Mic Night. So you got to make sure you tune in. You're not going to want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on all new episodes of Renegades Reviews, on New Release Saturday, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media. So much more content still to come this month. You don't want to miss out on any of it. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of the A Christmas Carol story, fans of Ebenezer Scrooge, fans of Disney and Mickey Mouse and DuckTales. Anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video, share it with them. It's the only way that we're going to boost up visibility for me in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized and make some money on these videos. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.